But before we wrap it up, let me ask you, Pisco, Elon Musk versus Trump. I'm sure you were having a good grand old time watching the fight as well. What the
Dude,
fuck,
I was
man?
on the plane, and it was this and the Prigozhin march on Moscow were like two of the best Twitter days of all time.
That was
and the
crazy.
memes,
Just wild.
The memes were
Just
insane.
wild.
Yeah. The best take, I think, or cope. There's like a bunch of different copes, but one of them is these are just two alphas, and this is what alpha men do, and this is very phallocentric as opposed to gynocentric.
Yeah, that was,
so
oh
yeah,
my
really
God.
super hilarious. What were your guys' takes?
Well, the reason why it's even on my mind today is just how thoroughly Elon has cucked and humiliated himself. The fact that he basically apologized. I regret some of the stuff I said about President Trump.
But
right?
I think they both were embarrassing because Trump was very meek in his Elon accused him of being a pedo. Said I
wish him
won the
well.
election for you.
I wish him well.
Said your tariffs suck and are going to cause a recession, and oh, by the way, you should be impeached and JD Vance should replace you. And Trump was the whole time like very meek in his response and told JD Vance he should be diplomatic in his appearance on Theo Von. So I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm asking Pisco,
It's
right?
like mutually assured destruction is what it feels like, right?
My read on it is that watching how sort of meek Trump was, other than cutting off the subsidies, which is relatively strong, but it feels like he thinks, oh, Elon might actually have some of the stuff Epstein has on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like he might have pictures, he might have videos, they might know, he might have some ace up his sleeve. He could also be thinking, damn, he's going to tell everybody about how he stole the election for me.
Well, think about how dumb Trump is technologically. Remember when he said that thing about Barron? Like, Barron's really good with computers. I turned on his computer, and I came back, and he turned it back on.
And
it was back on. I was like,
how'd you do that? He said, don't worry about it, Dad. I said, what a genius.
He's looking at Elon. Elon's installed Starlink, and his DOGE apparatchiks are going through all these databases. So, yeah, I'm sure he probably assumes that anything that is find-outable about him,
that Elon has on him.
it.
So he like kind of reeled it in a little bit. But Elon, when you look at how Elon's acted, honestly, my reading on it is massively impulsive drug addict.
Yeah.
That it's like the New York Times report is true. He takes a cocktail of 20 drugs a day, including fucking ecstasy and shrooms and ketamine and Adderall. And on that particular day, he had more uppers than downers, and he was in a bad mood. He felt slighted because Trump kicked out his NASA guy from the top position. He also felt slighted because the EV credits were not in the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
And so he had this moment of like, he's a baby. He gets everything he wants. He fucking berates everybody. Right? I want my things. You were in the Epstein files. It's like a child tantrum, right? But then after you do the child tantrum, like at least with Trump, if Trump throws a little child tantrum, he's not going to back down on that shit.
No.
He's just going to double and triple and quadruple down. Elon threw a little tantrum, then 2 days later, tail tucked between his legs. I'm sorry if I offended you. Please don't cut off my money.
Yeah. What do you think,
The thing is, it's bad either way, because I guess the good version of this story for Trump is you put a fucking drug addict, loser fucker who's going to throw tantrums like this in charge of the whole government as a minister without portfolio, like cutting everything from USAID, causing thousands of people probably to die. And this guy was in charge of like, I don't know, the largest arson of our government agencies and government institutions in the history of the country. That's like the good story. And everyone acknowledges now that DOGE is a complete and total failure. Even Elon himself, even the Elon segments. There's no argument now that DOGE was like good or did anything good. The most you're hearing is DOGE showed you the kind of style that we need, but it's not right now for the big, beautiful bill. And like no one can even defend it a full force. But obviously the other side to this is, well, why the fuck did Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, they were raising so much stink prior to this election, prior to their institution? Why was everyone talking about the imminent release of the Epstein files? Why did Pam Bondi do all this shit? And then now there's all this, oh, they might have deleted some files. Who knows? Everyone. So there's a lot of sus shit going on here.
Not
and of course,
even who knows.
Yeah.
We've seen the camera. There actually were cameras, and he did kill himself, and everyone should just trust us and move on.
And Mr. Edgy Outsider Joe Rogan being like, really, bro? bro, that's wild, bro. Like, you spent fucking 4 years of your life being like, Epstein didn't kill himself, and look at the fucking autopsy report.
It defies all logic. No one buys this bullshit. Everyone who was trying to sell this story of the Epstein files for the longest time, and now you're dealt with the person closest to a shadow president that we've ever had, calling out Trump specifically. And the two solutions are Trump is completely incompetent and absolutely horrible at his job because he put a drug addict in charge of something, but he has no Epstein connection or there's nothing there. Or maybe there is a there, and everyone is acting sus as fuck, and basically this is just a giant cover-up, and it's a cover-up of Trump.
But don't you also think Elon sort of knows he's cooked, so he felt like he had to apologize because his businesses
he's not gonna get
his businesses are done, bro. Like Tesla, the base that bought Teslas, it was like wealthy liberals. And now he's alienated every liberal and leftist in the country.
Yeah.
And so then what? You thought like MAGA was going to pick up the slack? No, they're buying Chevy Silverados and Ford F-150s, you dipshit. They're not going to buy a Tesla. And then on top of that, he just had 3 Starship planes that exploded.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
He lives off $8 million of government subsidies every day, $38 billion over the course of his career. Trump's now saying, maybe I cut that off. So he looked around and he went, I can't fucking make it in the free market. I'm gonna go belly up immediately. And so he felt like I have to apologize. I have to try to get back in his good graces. But if Trump is a real man, he will still cut off those subsidies.
He's not.
He should, yeah. No, wait, Crystal, can I ask you? Did you think that there was any chance that libs were gonna be like, unburn the Teslas? We should open them. We should accept them with open arms. I struggle with like Ro Khanna
leaders.
Yeah, the politicians, the wealthy politicians, they're like, sure.
And I actually think, Pisco, I think that's part of what Elon realized is like, I burned, like I did a Nazi salute. These liberals are not taking me back. So, you know, it's a 2-party system, you know, outside of his fantasies about we'll start the new moderate party. Okay. Moderate led by a guy who does Nazi salutes and backs the AFD in Germany. Okay. But, you know, you've got 2 choices. You can be, well, 3. You can be, you know, totally transactional and you're giving money to both sides. Plenty of people do that. You can be all in with the Democrats or you can be all in with the Republicans. And you have burned the bridge so thoroughly with the Democrats that it would be a litmus test in Democratic primaries if you had a candidate that took his money at this point. Like, it would not be acceptable at all. And so I think probably when he came down from whatever bender he was on, he had that realization of like,
oh, fuck.
The only thing I can't, like, I already burned the bridge with the liberals, and now I called this guy a pedophile. Like, I am completely screwed.
He needs...
And, oh, by the way, outside of the toxic branding, the Chinese EVs are kicking Tesla's ass, too.
Kicking ass. Like,
way outside of the U.S., where we basically can't buy them. BYD is leaps and bounds ahead of them, more affordable, and his brand is also toasted in different places around the world. So he's, like, screwed on a bunch of fronts when it comes to Tesla.
Honestly, the litmus test for me, he should be in prison. And every single Democrat who's running for president in 2028 should have to say, I think Elon Musk should be in prison. Because we can't just forget about what he actually did. Put the Nazi salutes aside, which are bad enough, right? But there's nothing criminal about that. It is criminal to illegally cut pediatric cancer research and Meals on Wheels and destroy the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and fire nuclear safety officials, including our top guy, who they had to beg to come back, destroyed FEMA, Department of Education, fired 83,000 veterans, cut half the Social Security offices in the country, fired 250,000 public workers. All of this illegally, by the way, because he does not have power of the purse. Congress decides something, the president signs it, that's it. It's the law. You can't have the world's richest robber baron go in there and cut whatever he wants to cut. They got rid of food safety inspectors and air traffic controllers. Like, it's so crazy that the conversation is, should we allow him back into the arena and give us money? It's like, no, he needs to go to prison, bro.
Yeah.
Do you not understand this?
I struggle with Ro Khanna because on some things I think that Ro Khanna makes a lot of sense, and so maybe you guys can be my guidepost here. But when he says that stuff about Elon Musk, I'm just like, dude, come on.
Insane.
We feel the same way.
No, it's insane. And so there's a funny
What are you
meme.
thinking?
There's a funny meme that it says the Ro Khanna cycle, and it's a picture of Ro Khanna, and there's like a bunch of question marks, and there's an arrow to another bunch of question marks, and there's an arrow to another bunch of question marks. Because it's like, what are you doing?
But he's a smart dude. Like, I've talked to him, and he seems like a very smart dude, very capable. Like, but then every now and then he'll say something like this, and I'm just like, why the fuck would Democrats embrace Elon Musk? Why is that smart?
Said it
Elon
too.
is a particular problem for him because at the beginning beginning of DOGE, he was like, "Oh, we should see if we could work." It was
I like
one of those,
efficiency.
and was
I like efficiency, don't you?
I argued with him on Breaking Points about this, and actually, I think he reached out to me because he saw my comments about this with the Vanguard guys.
Oh, the Vanguard boys! I saw them roasting him.
And so he saw me talking to them about it, and he was like, "You make some good points, but I come on Breaking Points and we can talk about it." So he'll probably be on with us next week.
He's gonna still take the opposite side of that shit.
Well, I don't know.
Really?
Oh, this is what he's doing if he does that.
I don't know. I think
buddy.
we'll probably have him
Dig
on
that
and see what he's
hole.
got to say about it at this point.
The thing is, Crystal,
So-
you're really good at those kinds of interviews. Also, but
That's
before
nice
I
of you
end,
to say. Thank you.
I think you are. Before, and it reminds me, before I end, do we have a Cenk Uygur update in terms of whether or not they're going to cut military spending?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with TYT? Can we get him to come around? Can we get him, like...
It was hard watching that, given that I literally knew as a matter of fact that they were going to raise the military budget. It was tough watching him swear up and down, like, no, there's a chance. Maybe.
But do you
they'll-
think that we can reach out? Because I think that when I watch those Piers Morgan debates, and now I guess Piers Morgan has come around on Palestine,
Yeah.
when Cenk Uygur is on your side, just like, by the way, when you two are on my side, there are some things I think that we still disagree on. But whenever you guys are on my side, whenever Cenk's on my side, I cheer. And I think it's awesome to have people who like are able to stand on business, which for the longest time, Cenk was such a person for me. But yeah, I'm just wondering if there's any hope to get the old Cenk back to get him to realize that this like appeal to MAGA-ism, this appeal to Trumpism is not worth his time.
I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah, the thing is, like, there's always two paths after an election loss, right? One of the paths is, hey, fuck you and the horse you rode in on, I'm still right, and you'll realize that eventually. That's one of the paths. That's the path I took. The other path is, hey, maybe we should be a little more open-minded and open-hearted and see where these people are coming from, and maybe you get more bees with honey, or however the fucking saying goes, right? And, like, that's the path he went down. And I don't know, something about this last election, to me it seems so obvious that let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya and like try to work through it cordially, like that was so not the way to go that it was just like astonishing that anybody would go down that path. And so it was difficult to watch for that reason.
For me, there are some things that are just out of bounds, politically should be out of bounds. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about him mobilizing Marines against American citizens for no reason.
There's no...
And threatening to do so across the country, and threatening the Insurrection Act, and threatening to arrest Gavin Newsom, and, you know, the tariffs are insane. I mean, it's all so outside of what is acceptable. I mean, the whole project of DOGE, like, I'm going to hand over the government to the richest man on the planet to do what, like... That to me is not a let's see where we can overlap.
Right, yeah.
That's you have to reject this project out of hand because it's so un-American. I mean, it's so contrary to the best ideals of this country that you cannot give it any sort of credence, any sort of credit, or play ball at all, because the whole concept of handing the government over to an unelected oligarch, richest man on the planet should not be something that's on the table at all.
And the thing is, we already knew as a matter of fact that there was a 0% chance Trump was going to be populist or anti-war. And I say that because the best predictor of future action is past action, and we had his whole first term to look at to see what did he do.
Right.
And what he did was standard far-right Republican bullshit.
Yeah.
Let me cut taxes for the rich. Let me deregulate. Let me do more bombings. Let me do more war.
And we had Project 2025, which was all about, hey, you know how Trump 1.0 was extreme? Trump 2.0 is going to be that on steroids and with zero guardrails. So yeah, it was not a surprise.
And I think that you guys are like impartial enough that if he were to do great things, like we'll definitely call it out when we see it, and we'll definitely give him his kudos where it deserves. So like if he had brokered some amazing peace deal in Gaza, I know that you guys would be giving him credit for that. If he had, instituted some really populist left-wing economic policies, I know that you guys would have been giving him credit for that, but we just can't give credit in advance. And so, yeah, I appreciate you guys saying that.
Yeah, I mean, in the first term, there were examples every now and then where I'd be like, oh, shit, okay. When he pardoned Alice Johnson.
Yeah, First Step
when
Act.
he did the
Like,
First
all
Step
right.
Act. When he actually got rid of TPP, although he did do a new NAFTA and there were some of the original TPP provisions in there. But, yeah, there were instances in the first term where you're like, he banned bump stocks for guns. I was like, cool, great, that's awesome. But this time, there's literally
Oh,
nothing.
shit, I'm going to challenge you now, Kyle. So
What?
What is your favorite thing that Trump has done in the second term?
Hey guys, we had a great long conversation with Pisco. Everybody should check it out. The link is below. Crystal, Kyle, and friends. Sign up and you can watch the whole thing, and you watch it a day early, or you could sign up for free and get the audio version a day later. Definitely check it out.